Trial is pushed back for a man accused in a deadly road rage shooting. Good evening and thank you for joining us.
Dayton Morgan is accused of shooting and killing Trevor Julian on a Tyler road back in February. KLTV 7's JD Conti was in the courtroom today as a judge decided what evidence the jury can hear.
And argue to you that his mental health records aren't relevant to his own defense is utterly ridiculous. It is a waste of the court's time. It's a waste of my time.
In court this morning, Dayton Morgan's trial was moved back about 2 months, from December 7th to February 13th, 2027. A defense expert was not available for the current date. The new date will mark just under a year since the shooting that killed Trevor Julian, a Marine veteran from Carthage. In a previous bond reduction hearing, Morgan's attorney announced he'd be claiming self-defense. Today, he argued the judge shouldn't allow the jury to hear evidence from Morgan's mental health records.
These were all inclusive. They were not narrowly tailored. This is what I would, of course, consider, Your Honor, a fishing expedition.
Morgan's attorney, John Griffin, said a grand jury subpoena for Morgan's health records asked for all of his records and wasn't specific. He argued that violated Morgan's Fourth Amendment rights. At March's hearing, prosecutors read some of those records. They say the records prove Morgan was a threat to the public, and still is. However, the state argued Morgan opened himself to additional questions when he claimed self-defense.
Generally, people don't want people knowing their mental health records. I would agree with that. You know what? Generally, people don't want people shooting people either and then claiming self-defense.
Judge Jackson denied the defense's motion. Morgan was set to ask for bond reduction again today, but both sides agreed to argue at a later date after conflicts over an expert. JD Conti, KLTV 7 News.
Morgan will be back in court on August 5th for those additional motions.